Once upon a time, in the kingdom of Evermist, where the mornings were soft and silver and the nights shimmered like candlelight on water, there lived a gentle girl named Elara. Her smile was quiet but warm, her heart kind enough that even the shy deer of the forest walked close when she sang. But kindness is a light that jealousy can't stand. Elara lived under the roof of her step-aunt, Lady Seraphine, a woman whose beauty was as sharp as the moon's edge and whose envy was darker than the shadows behind her eyes. Seraphine hated how people admired Elara's simple grace. Hated, especially, that Elara looked so much like her late mother.
Hide your face. You shine too brightly for someone who deserves so little.
Elara would bow her head and return to her chores, sweeping the halls that once belonged to her parents before illness took them both. Still, she never spoke unkindly. That was the thing about Elara, her gentleness survived everything. One cold evening, Seraphine led Elara to the quiet mirrored waters of Moonlake. The moon rose full and pale, laying a silver path across the surface.
Why are we here? For a lesson.
Before Elara could step back, Seraphine lifted an ancient pendant, black as obsidian and carved with runes that twisted like thorns. The air tightened. The lake rippled though there was no wind.
By moon envy's fire, let her form silence her desire.
Wait, Seraphine, what are you...
But her voice broke into a flutter of white feathers. Her hands curved into wings. Her breath vanished into a swan's cry. And in the next heartbeat, she was no longer a girl but a delicate white swan trapped in the moon's glow.
By day you will remain as you are. Only at night will you remember you were ever human.
She left Elara trembling in the reeds. Life by the lake. Days passed, then weeks, then months. Elara learned to glide across the lake, her reflection a white streak on the glassy surface. And each night, as the moon climbed, her feathers folded into skin again and she became herself. Lonely, barefoot and frightened, she slept on soft moss in a hidden cove. She drank from the cold lake. She whispered to the trees, though they could not answer. Her only comfort was her hope. One evening, a young man on horseback wandered into the forest, weary from travel. He wore no crown, only a simple cloak, but the way the shadows softened around him showed his nobility. This was Prince Rowan, restless, thoughtful, and longing for a world quieter than the palace walls. He stopped when he reached Moonlake, struck by its calm beauty. Then he saw a swan, elegant, white as thistledown, watching him with human sadness.
Hello. You don't look afraid.
The swan tilted its head, as if understanding. He returned the next night, and the next. But one night, the swan was gone, replaced by a girl with tangled hair and moonlit eyes, stepping out from behind a willow tree. Rowan froze. She looked like something woven out of a wish.
I didn't mean to startle you.
You're the swan, aren't you?
Only until dawn.
They sat by the water talking in hushed voices. Rowan brought bread wrapped in cloth. Elara told him stories of the animals she'd met. Night after night they laughed under the stars, their closeness growing like a flower determined to bloom in shadowed soil. But she never told him about Seraphine. Not yet.
You should go.
One night, they talked so long that Elara didn't see the sky turning pale.
What's wrong?
The sun, please go.
Instead, he stepped closer.
Whatever happens, I'm not leaving you. Elara, who did this to you?
When she became human again that night, she told him everything. The curse, the pendant, Seraphine's jealousy. Rowan knelt before her, hands trembling.
I will free you.
I can't ask you to risk.
You didn't ask, I decided.
Rowan returned to the palace and gathered only 2 loyal knights. Together they rode to Seraphine's manor by moonlight. Seraphine sensed them coming. When Rowan stepped inside, shadows twisted into creatures, mirrors showed lies, and the air shimmered with illusions. But he pressed forward, heart steady. He found the pendant locked in a jeweled chest. Just as he grabbed it, Seraphine materialized in a swirl of smoke.
You fool. Her curse is my masterpiece.
She summoned wind that knocked him to the floor. He clutched the pendant tighter, burning his palm, and fled through the collapsing hallways. Seraphine pursued him in a storm of black magic all the way back to Moonlake. At dawn, Elara stood trembling at the water's edge in her swan form. Seraphine raised her hands.
Back into the lake forever!
Rowan shouted.
Elara, catch!
He threw the pendant. It struck the water, casting a ripple of silver light. Elara caught it in her beak just as the moon's last glow touched the lake. The pendant shattered like glass struck by truth. Light shot upward, wrapping Elara in warmth. Her wings unfurled, and she became human again. Seraphine screamed as the broken magic turned on its maker. Feathers burst from her arms, her body twisting into the shape of a furious black swan. She flapped wildly, trapped in the form she had once forced on another. And with a single cry of rage, she fled across the lake, doomed to glide its waters forever. Elara stepped into Rowan's arms as sunlight warmed her human skin.
You did it.
We did it!
They returned to the kingdom where Elara was welcomed not as a servant girl, but as a survivor of dark magic and bearer of a courage she never believed she had. When Rowan asked her to stay beside him, she smiled with tears in her eyes. Only then did she say yes. Their wedding was held beside Moonlake. White swans circled above them, wings glowing like lanterns. Yet sometimes, on quiet evenings, people spotted a single black swan gliding the waters, watching silently, her eyes burning with the memory of her own downfall. But the lake no longer belonged to darkness. It belonged to Elara, to freedom, to love that survived enchantment. And so, the Swan Princess of Moonlake lived happily ever after.